Pleasure poverty. We're in the midst of one of the most pervasive and disturbing epidemics that our culture has ever seen. And yet nobody's talking about it. Nobody's seeing that this is the undercurrent that's sewing together so many different issues that we're seeing in our society right now. The problem is pleasure poverty. We are trading true pleasure for substituted, settled for, I guess this is good enough experiences. All of us. We scroll that good old Facebook, we scroll the social media, we get lost in the sound bites of this article or that article, this listicle that will tell me how to live my life better, or this listicle that says, look at all these cute kittens, or this listicle that says, wow, look at all the cute stuff kids do. All the while, we are separating ourselves from our own true pleasure. All the while, we are saying, scrolling and looking at someone else experiencing pleasure is more important than me putting the phone down and going out and experiencing it myself. And this is a natural occurrence because of the way we've all been conditioned, because of the way we've all been indoctrinated. You see, our culture wants us asleep. Our culture wants us to be numbed and be consumers, because consuming constantly creates a motor behind this world and the way that it's operating as it is. The problem with this is that as consumers, what we're being brainwashed into, there's actual research that talks about how social media was actually generated in a way in order to brainwash folks, in order to have them basically sacrifice their own attention so that they could focus on what it is that other people decided was important instead of what they decided was important, and they sacrificed their ability to focus on things long term. Because of this, because of our sacrificing and our essentially our allowing our attention span to be stolen because of the product of the way that the internet works currently. I don't think the internet's bad. I don't think even social media is bad. I think the way it's currently constructed is a detriment to our well-being. It's a detriment to our pleasure. We've been built for this because essentially what's happened is we've been conditioned for years and years, hundreds of years even, to only ask ourselves, what do other people need from me? What do other people want? What do other people desire? And then to give it to them. We are a nation, a world of people pleasers. I know it might seem contradictory, beautiful thunder. I know it might seem contradictory when you consider that there's so much war and so much conflict out there. There's so much war and there's so much conflict out there because most people want to feel right. Most people want to feel affirmed in their positions because they're actually people pleasing. It's another disease of our culture, is all of this people pleasing, because as we are constantly looking elsewhere outside of ourselves rather than inside of ourselves for the affirmation, for the acknowledgement that we are good enough, that what we're doing is a good idea, that our ideas have merit, what we're doing is we are then sacrificing our ability to have pleasure. We're sacrificing our ability to know what our desires are. We're sacrificing our ability to relax, have fun, and enjoy this life by living it instead of constantly living it through this false reality of social media, through this false reality of constant listicles and constant nonsense news that's everywhere. We are living our lives through the guise of watching other people's lives because it's easier to consume other people's lives than it is to go out there and say, you know what, this is what I want and this is what will make me happy, because we could be rejected for it. When we consume other people's lives, we are not going to be rejected for our consumption. We are rejected potentially through our creation. And so it takes guts, it takes bravery, it takes courage to be a creator rather than just a consumer. 80% of your time should be spent on creation of experience, on creation of pleasure, on creation of connection, on creation of your artwork, whether that's writing or painting or speaking or dancing or acting or whatever. 80% of your time should be spent on creation and 20% of your time should be spent on consumption. But the way our culture works right now, probably 95% of most people's time is spent on consumption. Consumption of other people's ideas, consumption of the way that the world is supposed to work, consumption of what this next guru says I'm supposed to do with my life. All of this is basically outsourcing our happiness and saying that I'm happy once I can do what those people say I should do. Instead of understanding that I'm happy when I decide I'm happy. I am happy when I'm in my life instead of watching other people's lives. I'm happy when I've got the guts to go out there and make big decisions and take risks and be who I really am, instead of hiding behind a computer screen all the time, hiding behind the consumption of what other people are putting out, and having the courage and the bravery to put things out myself, to create things myself. Even if it's just creating connections with other human living beings, instead of just consuming what's going on around and wanting everyone else to conform to and agree with our reality. That's just desiring approval. So we have a paucity of pleasure in our life, a lack of enough pleasure, a lack of enough presence in the everyday contextual gorgeous lushness of our living being. And this, my friends, is why we are all disconnected from our dreams. We're all disconnected from our visions. We're all disconnected from our ability to create wealth, from our ability to feel secure and comfortable in our own skin, is because we're always outsourcing it to other people. It's time to become a creator of your own life, a creator of everything that matters to you, rather than just a consumer of what other people are telling you your life should be like. So what do you want? What do you really want? When all the doors are flung open, when all of the expectations from everybody else are thrown out, what do you really want? When you can answer that, you become the most powerful being there is, because you become motivated by this inner quest for your own happiness, instead of this outer focused quest of keeping everyone else around you happy. You see, it's not selfish to keep yourself happy, to focus on your own inner quest of happiness, because when you focus on your own inner quest of happiness, you can create ripples of impact on every life around you. We've all met those people. You walk into their life and just being around them has this magnetism, has this sense of, oh, I feel more alive just being your friend, just breathing the same air as you're breathing. That's what being a creator in your life is like. You impact others by living your life in happiness, in action, in the actual pleasure of presence, instead of the constant the pleasure of a thunderstorm, one of my favorite things ever. But instead of the constant deferring to others' authority, instead of the constant deferring to what other people want for you or think you should do, instead of the constant deferring to the status quo of, will I fit in? Will other people approve of me? Because I guarantee once you get all that approval, you're not going to be as happy as you think you are. Approval doesn't make you happy. Connection with the self makes you happy, because then you can attract your own soul tribe, your own peeps who truly resonate with who you are, instead of these people you've been seeking and chasing the approval of your entire life. So be a creator. What do you want to go out there and create? What desires have you been putting on the sidelines of your life? How often have you been saying, even let's talk about this for a second. In sexual experience, I don't have statistics off the top of my head, but a majority of women have faked orgasms in their sexual experience in life. And the reason most women have faked orgasms is because they want to please their partner, because they want the sex to be over with. Instead of communicating what it is they want, they just fake pleasure in order to keep the other people outside of themselves happy, satisfied, not freaking out, not having a weird ego moment of I can't make my woman happy or whatever it is. Granted, it's not their job to make you happy, but instead of saying, this is my sexual experience too, and darn tootin', I'm gonna have some pleasure too, and enjoying it and speaking for what would make them have that sense of enjoyment, they are sacrificing their own pleasure and looking outward so that they can keep others around them happy. This is just one of innumerable examples of how the poverty of pleasure in our life and the inability to speak to what makes us happy has become an epidemic that has marginalized us from true presence and true enjoyment of our life. I gotta say, life's a lot more fun when you're having a whole bunch of orgasms, right? Life's a lot more fun when you can tell people, I don't want to do that. Life's a lot more fun when you can say, you know what? I know you guys all think that thing is crazy. I'm going to go do it anyway because I want to, because it feels right to me. Life's a lot more fun and fulfilling when you say no to those people who are draining you and you say yes to yourself so that you can make space for the people who fill you. It's the people who are constantly expecting us to be something that we're not. Society in general does this as well, but it's the people who constantly expect us to be something who we are not that end up draining our energy and making us feel as though we're less than, making us feel as though we're inadequate, making us feel as though we need to conform who we are to fit inside this little tiny box of what they want us to be. And it's time to stop being what everybody else wants you to be. And it's time to be you, darling. All right, I love you, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on my Facebook page. Click the little button that says follow me first and get updates every day that will help you feel as though you can be the director of your life without being a selfish terror. That you can stop the poverty of pleasure and you can understand what it is you truly want. You can invite in wealth. You can invite in prosperity and abundance and beautiful connections and wonderful relationships and awesome experiences like moving to Bali, which is where I am right now at in my villa in Bali. But you can have these experiences and to know that you can and to stop putting them off for someday while in the present moment you're just consuming other people's pleasure instead of creating your own. It's time to create your pleasure. All right, talk to you soon.